When the mother faints, a little girl grabs her work phone and calls the first contact on the list. On the other side, a millionaire answers, without imagining who is on the line. The child says a single word that makes him drop everything. Immediately. What he finds afterward changes his life forever. The faint sound of rain against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Parker Industries' executive boardroom provided a soothing backdrop to what was otherwise a tense emergency meeting. Nathan Parker, the 42-year-old CEO of the technology conglomerate, maintained his composure as he addressed the 12 board members seated around the massive oak table. "The Singapore deal can't wait another quarter," Nathan explained, his voice steady despite the pressure. "If we don't secure this partnership now, Axion Tech will step in and we'll lose our foothold in the Asian market completely." Victoria Hamilton, the most recently appointed board member, leaned forward with a skeptical expression. "And you're certain the R&D department can deliver the prototype by next month? Because if we commit and fail to deliver..." "I've personally reviewed the timeline with our engineering team," Nathan interrupted, his patience wearing thin. "They've been working around the clock and..." The vibration of his phone cut him off mid-sentence. Nathan never answered calls during board meetings. It was one of his strictest personal policies. He glanced down, ready to silence it, but paused when he saw the screen. Unknown number. Something, intuition perhaps, made him hesitate. In 15 years of leadership, he had never broken this rule, but today, something felt different. "Excuse." "Ami," he said, standing abruptly. "I need to take this. Continue reviewing the projections. I'll be right back." He stepped into his adjoining office, closing the door behind him, and answered. "Hello? Nathan Parker speaking." A small, trembling voice came through the speaker. "Daddy?" Nathan froze. He didn't have children. "I think you have the wrong..." "Mommy said if I ever needed help and she couldn't help me, I should call this number and say Daddy so someone important would listen." The girl's voice cracked. She said important people are busy and sometimes you have to say something to make them stop and pay attention. Nathan's grip tightened on the phone. "Your mom told you to call me?" "Not you. This phone. It's Mommy's work phone, but she never uses it anymore. She keeps it in a box with important papers." The girl's voice dropped to a whisper. "Mommy fell down and won't wake up. I'm scared. We don't have any food, and my sisters are crying." A cold sensation spread through Nathan's chest. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Sophia. Sophia Rodriguez Bennett." Rodriguez. The surname hit Nathan like a physical blow. Emily Rodriguez. It had been nearly 10 years since he'd heard that name, since the cleaning staff supervisor had informed him that she had suddenly quit without notice. 6 months. They had shared 6 months of stolen moments, late nights when the office was empty, weekend meetings that were never about work. Emily, with her infectious laugh and fierce intelligence that belied her position as a member of the night cleaning crew. Emily, who had disappeared from his life without a word, leaving him with unanswered calls and a hollow feeling he'd never quite shaken. "Sophia, how old are you?" His voice sounded strange to his own ears. "I'm 9, almost 10 in December." 9 years, the math wasn't lost on him. "Where are you, Sophia? I want to help you and your mom." "Apartment 4B, 1824 Westwood Avenue in Queens. Please hurry. Emma." Won't stop crying, and Olivia is trying to wake Mommy up, but she can't. "I'm coming right now. Can you stay on the phone with me?" "No, my sisters need me. Please just come." The line went dead. Nathan stood motionless for several seconds before bursting back into the boardroom. All conversation stopped immediately. "Meeting adjourned," he announced, already gathering his things. "Family emergency. Marcus, email me the remaining points. I'll review them tonight." Without waiting for responses, he strode out, sending a quick text to his driver as he reached the elevator. 20 minutes later, his black Escalade was fighting through midday Manhattan traffic toward Queens. The rain had intensified by the time they reached Westwood Avenue, a stark contrast to the gleaming skyscrapers of Midtown. The building was a worn 6-story walk-up with peeling paint and security bars on the lower windows. "Wait here," Nathan instructed his driver, stepping out into the downpour without bothering with an umbrella. The building's entrance had a broken intercom system, but the door wasn't properly latched. Inside, the hallway smelled of damp carpet and yesterday's cooking. Nathan took the stairs 2 at a time until he reached the 4th floor. Apartment 4B had a faded welcome mat and a small wreath that had seen better days. He knocked firmly. "Sophia?" "It's Nathan from the phone." The door opened a crack held by a security chain. A small face peered out, dark eyes, honey-brown skin, and a determined expression that seemed too mature for her years. Those eyes, they were unquestionably his eyes staring back at him. "Are you really the important man from Mommy's phone?" Sophia asked cautiously. "Yes," Nathan replied softly. "I'm here to help." Sophia closed the door, removed the chain, and opened it fully. She wore a faded pink t-shirt that was a size too small and jeans with patches on the knees. Behind her in the small living room, 2 identical little girls, perhaps 5 or 6 years old, huddled together on a worn sofa, watching him with wide, frightened eyes. "Mommy's in there," Sophia said, pointing to a doorway. "She came home from her night shift and was making breakfast, but then she fell. She's breathing, but she won't wake up. I tried everything." Nathan followed her into a small bedroom where a woman lay on a twin bed. Even after nearly a decade, he recognized Emily immediately, though she was thinner now, her face drawn with exhaustion. Her work uniform, a waitress outfit from a 24-hour diner, was still on, and her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. He knelt beside the bed, gently taking her wrist to check her pulse. It was steady but weak. Emily's skin felt cool and clammy. "Emily," he said quietly, then more firmly. "Emily, can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered but didn't open. Nathan turned to Sophia, who stood watching from the doorway. "When did she last eat or drink anything?" The girl hesitated. "I don't know. She worked double shifts all week. Sometimes she saves her employee meal for us." The implication was clear. Nathan looked around the bedroom, neat but sparse, with no personal items beyond a few family photos. Through the open closet door, he could see precisely arranged clothes, all well worn. Everything about the apartment spoke of dignity, maintained in the face of genuine poverty. He returned to the living room, taking in details he'd missed initially. Despite the worn furniture, the place was immaculately clean. School books were stacked neatly on a small desk in the corner. A collection of library books sat on a shelf. Crayon drawings were carefully taped to the refrigerator. "When did you last eat, Sophia?" he asked gently. "Yesterday at school lunch," she answered matter-of-factly. "Mommy made oatmeal for the twins this morning before she fell, but there wasn't enough for me. I'm the big sister. I can wait." Nathan felt something in his chest constrict. "Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to call a doctor for your mom, and then we're going to get some food. Does that sound good?" The twins had edged closer, still clinging to each other. One of them, Nathan couldn't tell which, spoke up in a whisper. "Is Mommy going to be okay?" Nathan knelt down to their level. "What are your names?" "I'm Emma," said one. "I'm Olivia," said the other, the one who had asked about their mother. "Well, Emma and Olivia, I'm going to make sure your mom gets help. I promise." As he made the necessary calls, first to his personal physician, Dr. Winters, who agreed to come immediately, then to his housekeeper to prepare his penthouse for guests, Nathan couldn't tear his eyes away from Sophia. Her stance, the determined set of her jaw, the analytical way she was watching him, all of it mirrored what he saw in the mirror every day. And in that moment, as rain streamed down the windows of the small Queen's apartment, Nathan Parker's carefully ordered world shifted on its axis. The Singapore deal, the board meeting, the quarterly projections, all of it receded into insignificance compared to the 3 hungry children and the unconscious woman who had once meant everything to him. "Sophia," he said carefully, "I think your mom needs more help than she can get here. Would you and your sisters be okay coming to my home until she feels better? There's plenty of room and we can make sure she gets the rest and care she needs." Sophia studied him with those familiar eyes, his eyes, before nodding slowly. "We go where Mommy goes," she said simply. And with those words, the irrevocable transformation of Nathan Parker's life began. Dr. Winters arrived at the apartment within 30 minutes, his kind face betraying only momentary surprise at finding his wealthy patient in such modest surroundings. After a thorough examination of Emily, he pulled Nathan aside in the small kitchen. "Severe exhaustion and malnutrition," he said quietly. "Her body is simply shutting down from overwork and lack of proper nutrition." "How long has she been like this?" "I don't know," Nathan admitted. "I just found out about her situation today." Dr. Winters raised an eyebrow but didn't press further. "She needs rest, fluids, and proper meals. I'd recommend hospitalization." "But no hospitals," came a weak voice from the bedroom doorway. Emily stood there, leaning heavily against the frame, her face pale but her eyes alert and immediately fixed on Nathan. "We don't have insurance." "Emily," Nathan moved toward her but stopped when she held up a hand. "Why are you here?" Her voice was barely above a whisper, but the intensity behind it filled the room. Before Nathan could answer, Sophia appeared beside her mother. "I called him, Mommy. On your old work phone, I did what you said if there was an emergency." Emily's face softened as she looked down at her daughter, then hardened again as she turned back to Nathan. "You shouldn't have come." "Your daughter called me because you collapsed," Nathan said evenly. "The girls haven't eaten properly in days. What was I supposed to do?" Emily closed her eyes briefly, swaying slightly. Dr. Winters moved quickly to support her, guiding her to a kitchen chair. "Ms. Rodriguez, you need medical attention and rest," the doctor insisted. "Your body is severely depleted." "I have shifts tonight and tomorrow," Emily murmured. "I can't afford to rest." Nathan knelt in front of her chair. "Emily, please let me help. Come to my place, all of you, just until you're back on your feet." She looked at him, really looked at him for the first time, and Nathan saw a decade of hardship in her eyes. "You don't understand what you're offering," she said finally. "Then help me understand," he replied. An hour later, after Dr. Winters had administered fluids and vitamins and departed with strict instructions for Emily's care, the twins had fallen, asleep on the sofa, emotionally exhausted from the day's events. Sophia sat at the small kitchen table, quietly working on homework, while occasionally glancing up to monitor the tense conversation between the adults. 9 years, Nathan," Emily said, her voice stronger now. 9 years of silence and suddenly you want to play hero." "You disappeared," Nathan countered, keeping his voice low to avoid waking the twins. "One day you were there, and the next, I was told you'd quit. No goodbye, no explanation. I called. For weeks." Emily laughed bitterly. "Oh, I'm sure you did. Did you ever wonder why those calls never reached me?" Nathan frowned. "What are you talking about?" "Your head of security, Robert Johnson. Ring a bell?" Emily sipped the electrolyte. "Drink Dr. Winters had left. He called me into his office one day, said my relationship with you had been noticed and was inappropriate. He handed me termination papers and my final paycheck, plus a bonus that he called generosity from the company, but felt more like hush money." Nathan felt the blood drain from his face. "Robert fired you? That's impossible. He didn't have that authority. He said the order came from above, that continuing to see you would result in legal action against me for attempting to manipulate a company executive." Her eyes flickered to Sophia, then back to Nathan. "I had just found out I was pregnant. I couldn't risk a legal battle I knew I'd lose." "Above," Nathan's mind raced. "You mean the board?" Emily shook her head. "Your father, Nathan. He mentioned William Parker specifically." The revelation hit Nathan like a physical blow. His father had always been cold, calculating, and obsessed with the family's public image. But to go behind his back and destroy his relationship, even for William Parker, that seemed extreme. "I never knew," Nathan said quietly. "I would have fought it if I'd known." "Would you?" Emily challenged. "The heir to Parker Industries and the night cleaning lady. We both know how that story ends in the real world." Sophia looked up from her homework, her expression making it clear she was absorbing every word despite pretending not to listen. "What happened after?" Nathan asked. Emily's expression softened slightly. "I moved in with my cousin in New Jersey, got a job waiting tables, had Sophia." She glanced at her daughter with unmistakable pride. A few months later, I met Michael Bennett. He was a paramedic, a good man. He didn't care about Sophia's parentage. He loved her from day one. He adopted her legally. Emily nodded. We married when Sophia was 1. The twins came a few years later. Her voice caught. Michael was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer last year. It was quick. He had some life insurance, but the medical bills ate through that and our savings. We lost our apartment in New Jersey 3 months ago and moved here. Nathan struggled to process everything. I'm so sorry, Emily. If I had known. It doesn't matter now, she said firmly. What matters is that my daughters are hungry. I'm working 3 jobs to keep a roof over our heads, and I'm failing at both. Tears filled her eyes. I never wanted to ask for help, especially not from you. Let me help now, Nathan said. No, strings attached. You and the girls can stay at my penthouse until you're back on your feet. It's the least I can do. Emily hesitated, looking around the small apartment. We can't just leave. This is our home. Mom, Sophia spoke up, her voice small but determined. We should go. Just for a little while. Emily looked at her daughter in surprise. The twins need food, Sophia continued practically, and you need to rest. Mr. Parker seems nice. She said the last word uncertainly, as if testing it out. A sad smile crossed Emily's face. When did you get so grown up? When you started needing me to be, Sophia answered simply. Nathan felt his heart twist at the exchange. This child, his child, had been forced to shoulder adult responsibilities far too soon. He made a silent promise then and there that, whatever happened next, Sophia and her sisters would have the childhood they deserved. Within the hour, Nathan had arranged for his driver to take them to his Central Park West penthouse. Emily insisted on packing essentials herself, though she moved slowly, still weak from her collapse. Nathan noticed how little they actually had. A single suitcase held clothes for all 4 of them, and a small backpack contained what Emily called important papers. As they drove through the rain-slicked streets of Manhattan, the contrast between where they had been and where they were going couldn't have been more stark. The twins pressed their faces against the car windows, eyes wide at the towering buildings and bustling streets, while Sophia maintained her composed observation, taking in everything without comment. Emily remained silent beside Nathan, her posture rigid despite her exhaustion. He could almost feel her building walls around herself, preparing for whatever came next. When they arrived at his building, the doorman greeted Nathan by name and politely nodded to his guests, though Nathan didn't miss the subtle raise of eyebrows at the unexpected company. The private elevator whisked them directly to the penthouse floor. Welcome to my home, Nathan said as the doors opened directly into the foyer of his 5,000-square-foot apartment. The twins gasped audibly. Even Sophia's careful composure slipped. Momentarily, as she took in the soaring ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing Central Park, and elegant furnishings. This is where you live? Emma whispered, eyes wide. By yourself? It does get lonely sometimes, Nathan admitted, surprising himself with the candor. His housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, appeared from the kitchen, her usual stoic expression softening at the sight of the children. Everything is prepared as you requested, Mr. Parker. The guest rooms are ready, and dinner will be served in 30 minutes. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. This is Ms. Rodriguez and her daughters, Sophia, Emma, and Olivia. They'll be staying with us for a while. Mrs. Chen nodded respectfully. I've prepared chicken soup and fresh bread for now, with something more substantial for later, if you're feeling up to it. The mention of food caused an immediate reaction from the twins, who looked hopefully toward the kitchen. Emily placed a hand on each of their shoulders, a silent reminder of manners. That sounds wonderful, thank you, Emily said, her voice revealing both gratitude and discomfort. Nathan showed them to their rooms, a large guest suite for Emily, with an adjoining room for the twins and another guest room for Sophia. Each room had been hastily but thoughtfully prepared, with fresh flowers and, Nathan noticed with appreciation, age-appropriate books on the nightstands for the girls. "You can rest before dinner if you'd like," he told Emily, "or join me in the kitchen whenever you're ready." Emily looked around the luxurious bedroom, then back at Nathan. "This isn't charity, Nathan. I need to make that clear right now. We'll accept your help temporarily, but I insist on contributing somehow." Nathan nodded, understanding her need for dignity. "We'll figure something out. For now, just focus on getting better." As he turned to leave, Emily called his name. "When?" He looked back. Her expression had softened slightly. "Thank you for coming today," she said quietly. "Sophia was right to call you." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. And as Nathan headed to his home office to cancel his meetings for the rest of the week, he realized that for the first time in years, his massive penthouse no longer felt empty. In the guest room, Sophia carefully unpacked her few belongings, including a worn journal and a framed photo of herself with Michael Bennett. She placed the photo on the nightstand and sat on the edge of the bed, looking out at the sprawling view of Central Park. "Are you my real dad?" she asked the empty room, voicing the question she hadn't dared ask aloud. The first few days in Nathan's penthouse established an uneasy rhythm. Emily slept nearly 20 hours straight that first night, her body finally surrendering to the exhaustion it had been fighting for months. The girls adapted more quickly, their resilience remarkable, given the dramatic change in circumstances. By the third morning, Nathan had grown accustomed to the sound of small feet padding down the hallway at dawn. He found himself rising earlier, preparing coffee in the kitchen rather than having Mrs. Chen bring it to his office as usual. "You're up early," Emily observed, entering the kitchen in borrowed pajamas that were slightly too large for her diminished frame. "I could say the same for you," Nathan replied, sliding a cup of coffee across the counter. "Cream, no sugar, if your preferences haven't changed." Mamvihasi, small gesture, remembering how she took her coffee after nearly a decade, seemed to catch Emily off guard. She accepted the cup with a nod. "Dr. Winters called. He'd like to check on you this afternoon." Emily frowned. "I'm feeling much better." "That's not necessary." "Humor me," Nathan said, "and him. He's genuinely concerned." Before Emily could respond, the twins burst into the kitchen, already dressed in the new clothes Nathan had arranged to have delivered the previous day. The simple act of having clean, properly fitting clothing had transformed them, their faces, brighter, movements more energetic. "Can we have pancakes again?" Olivia asked, climbing onto a stool at the kitchen island. "With blueberries," Emma added hopefully. Nathan found himself smiling. "Absolutely, but only if you help." Soon the kitchen was filled with the domestic chaos of pancake making, flour dusting countertops, and giggles erupting when Nathan flipped a pancake too enthusiastically, sending it dangerously close to the ceiling. Sophia entered last, already, dressed in her school uniform, her backpack slung over one shoulder. She observed the scene with a mix of pleasure and caution, as if afraid to fully embrace the moment. "Good morning, Sophia," Nathan said, flipping another pancake with exaggerated care. "Hungry?" "I have to leave early for study group," she answered. "We have a math test today." "You should eat something," Emily insisted. Nathan quickly plated 2 pancakes. "To go?" Sophia hesitated, then nodded, accepting the plate. As she ate, Nathan noticed her studying him, her intelligent eyes missing nothing. "Mr. Parker," she began formally. "You can call me Nathan," he offered. "Nathan," she corrected, the name awkward on her tongue. "What happens when Mum gets better? Do we go back to our apartment?" The question silenced the kitchen. Even the twins paused in their enthusiastic consumption of pancakes, sensing the weight of the moment. Emily set down her coffee cup. "Of course we do, Sophia. This is temporary." Nathan measured his words carefully. "You're welcome to stay as long as you need to, all of you." Sophia held his gaze. "But you're not just helping us because Mom used to work for you, are you?" The directness of the question, delivered with such adult perception, momentarily stunned Nathan. Emily tensed beside him. "Sophia, that's enough," Emily said quietly. "No, it's okay," Nathan assured her before turning back to Sophia. "You're right. There's more to it than that. Your mom and I were friends, good friends, and sometimes, when you lose touch with good friends, you still care about what happens to them. It was a carefully constructed truth, appropriate for the moment, but incomplete. Sophia seemed to sense this, but nodded, accepting the explanation for now. I should go, she said, gathering her backpack. Thank you for breakfast. After Sophia left for school and Mrs. Chen arrived to help the twins with their remote learning assignments, their previous school was too far to commute from Manhattan, Nathan and Emily found themselves alone in his home office. She knows, Emily said simply. Or at least she suspects, Nathan nodded. She's perceptive. She's always been that way. Even as a toddler, she'd watch people, figure things out before they said anything. Emily's pride was evident. Michael used to say she had an old soul. Nathan felt a pang at the mention of the man who had raised his biological daughter. He sounds like he was a wonderful father. He was, Emily confirmed. He loved all three girls equally, never made any distinction between Sophia and the twins. And the adoption was legal? Formal? Emily's eyes narrowed slightly. Yes. Michael adopted her when she was 14 months old. His name is on her birth certificate as her father. Nathan nodded, absorbing this information. I've been thinking, he began carefully. I'd like to speak with my lawyer about recognizing Sophia legally as her biological father. Emily's posture stiffened. Why? She already had a father who claimed her, raised her, loved her. I'm not trying to replace him, Nathan clarified. Quickly. But legally she should be entitled to certain protections and benefits, college funds, healthcare, inheritance rights, things that would make her future secure. And the twins? Emily challenged. What about them? Nathan hadn't expected this question, though in retrospect he should have. What would you want for them? Equal treatment, Emily said without hesitation. They've already lost one father. I won't have them feeling less valued than their sister. Nathan considered this. There are options, legal guardianship, adoption, if that's ever something everyone wanted, but I wouldn't presume to step into that role without earning it. The tension in Emily's shoulders eased slightly. This is all happening so fast, she admitted. A week ago I was juggling 3 jobs and failing to keep my family afloat. Now we're living in a Central Park penthouse, discussing legal guardianship with a man who's essentially a stranger to my children. I understand, Nathan said. We can take this as slowly as you need. There's no rush to make any decisions. A knock at the door interrupted them. Mrs. Chen appeared, her expression unusually concerned. Mr. Parker, there's a call for you. It's Mr. Johnson from security. Nathan felt Emily stiffen beside him at the mention of the name. I'll take it in here, he said, reaching for the phone on his desk. The conversation was brief but enlightening. Robert Johnson, Parker Industries, head of security for over 15 years, had apparently learned of Emily's presence in Nathan's home and was concerned about potential security implications. His carefully worded inquiry carried undertones that made Nathan's blood boil. Your concern is noted, Nathan said coldly. Please come to my office tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We have matters to discuss. After hanging up, he turned to find Emily, watching him, her expression guarded. He knows I'm here, she stated rather than asked. Yes. And he's about to learn that overstepping his authority has consequences. Nathan's voice held a steely edge. Emily, I need to know exactly what happened. When he fired you, everything he said, any paperwork you might still have. Emily hesitated. It was a long time ago. But you kept the papers, didn't you? Nathan pressed. In that box with the work phone, the important papers you brought with you. After a moment, Emily nodded. I've kept everything. Every document, every pay stub, every communication. When you grow up poor, you learn to document everything because no one takes your word for it. Later that afternoon, while Dr. Winters examined Emily in her room, Nathan reviewed the paperwork she had provided. The termination documents bore Robert Johnson's signature, but the authority line clearly indicated W.P. William Parker. His father had indeed been behind Emily's abrupt removal from his life. The discovery reopened old wounds. William Parker had stepped down as CEO 5 years ago, but still maintained a position on the board and significant voting shares. Their relationship had been strained for years, but this revelation added a new layer of betrayal. Nathan was still processing this when his private line rang. Marcus Evans, his COO and closest confidant at Parker Industries, rarely called this number unless it was urgent. "Nathan, we have a situation," Marcus began without preamble. "The board is asking questions about your sudden absence. Victoria Hamilton is particularly vocal, suggesting your personal distraction is affecting the Singapore negotiations." Nathan pinched the bridge of his nose. "The Singapore team has received all the necessary documentation. My temporary work-from-home status shouldn't impact anything." "You know Victoria," Marcus replied. "She's looking for any opportunity to undermine you. Word has gotten out that you have house guests, and she's spinning it as some kind of moral lapse or midlife crisis." "My personal life is none of the board's business," Nathan said firmly. "Agreed, but optics matter, especially with the Asian partners. They're traditional, family-oriented. If they perceive instability..." Nathan sighed. "I'll be in tomorrow for the video conference. Make sure everything is prepared." After ending the call, Nathan stared out at the Central Park view that had once brought him peace, but now seemed merely ornamental. His carefully compartmentalized life was blending together in ways he hadn't anticipated. The sound of laughter drew him from his office. In the living room, he found Emma and Olivia engaged in what appeared to be an impromptu dance party, jumping on the sofa cushions they'd arranged on the floor while music played from a tablet. "What's happening here?" he asked, unable to suppress a smile. "Dance break," Emma announced breathlessly. "Mrs. Chen said we needed to move our bodies after sitting for school," Olivia explained, twirling in a circle. Nathan leaned against the doorframe, watching their uninhibited joy. These children, who had known such hardship, could still find moments of pure happiness. It was humbling. Emily appeared beside him, fresh from her medical examination. "They've turned your pristine living room into a disaster zone," she observed, though her tone held no real concern. "It's just furniture," Nathan replied. "This place could use a little chaos." Dr. Winters approached from the hallway, medical bag in hand. "Ms. Rodriguez is improving remarkably," he informed Nathan. "Still needs proper nutrition and rest, but she's on the right track." "And the girls?" Nathan asked. The doctor's expression grew more serious. "Physically, the twins show signs of previous nutritional deficiency, but they're resilient. Sophia concerns me more." "Physically?" Emily asked sharply. "Emotionally," Dr. Winters clarified. "She's carrying a heavy burden for a child her age. The responsibility she feels for her family, the role of surrogate caretaker she's assumed, it's a lot. Children in such situations often develop anxiety or depression later if they don't have proper support." Nathan felt a new determination solidify within him. She'll have support. All of them will. As Dr. Winters departed, Nathan's phone chimed with an email notification. The subject line read, "Urgent Singapore deal status update." Business demands pulled at him, but the sight of Emma and Olivia dancing, of Emily watching them with tired but genuine happiness, held him in place. For the first time in his career, Nathan Parker let an urgent business email wait. Instead, he stepped into the living room and asked, "Room for one more in this dance party?" The twins' eyes widened in surprise before they erupted in delighted giggles. And as Nathan allowed himself to be pulled into their childish choreography, he caught Emily's eye over their heads. The small smile she offered felt like the first ray of sunlight after a very long storm. 3 weeks after the fateful phone call that brought Emily and her daughters into his life, Nathan sat in his home office, staring at the DNA test results on his computer screen. The confirmation of what he'd already known in his heart. Sophia was unquestionably his biological daughter. 99.99998% certainty, according to the private lab. He'd arranged the test with Emily's reluctant permission, using a simple cheek swab. Sophia had been told it was a routine health screening, a small deception that weighed on Nathan. but one that Emily had insisted on until they were ready to have the full conversation with her. Now, that conversation couldn't be postponed any longer. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Emily stood in the doorway looking healthier than she had in weeks. Regular meals and proper rest had restored some of her natural vibrancy, though she remained more reserved than the woman he'd known years ago. "Is that it?" she asked, nodding toward the screen. Nathan nodded. "Yes." Emily crossed the room and looked at the results, her expression unreadable. "So it's official." "Just confirmation of what we already knew," Nathan replied. "But yes, it's official." Emily sank into the chair across from his desk. "How do we tell her?" "Honestly," Nathan said simply, "she deserves that much." "And the twins? They're too young to understand the complexities." Nathan had given this considerable thought. "We tell them I'm an old friend who cares about all of you. That I'm Sophia's biological father, but that doesn't make me any more or less important than Michael was. That I want to be part of all their lives, if they'll let me." Emily studied him, searching for something in his expression. "You've changed, Nathan. The man I knew before wouldn't have considered the twins in this equation." "The man you knew before wasn't ready to be a father," Nathan admitted. "I'm not sure I am now, but I'm willing to try." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of crying from the guest wing. They exchanged concerned glances before hurrying down the hallway to find Olivia sitting on her bed, tears streaming down her face, while Emma stood nearby, looking upset but dry-eyed. "What happened?" Emily asked, immediately sitting beside Olivia and pulling her into an embrace. "She tried to say thank you to Mrs. Chen for the cookies," Emma explained solemnly, "but the words wouldn't come out right." Emily looked confused. "What do you mean?" "They got stuck," Olivia sobbed, burying her face in her mother's shoulder. "The words got stuck in my throat and wouldn't come out." Nathan watched as Emily comforted her daughter, murmuring reassurances and stroking her hair. This wasn't the first concerning incident they'd observed with the twins. Emma had developed an intense fear of the dark, requiring a nightlight, and often crawling into her mother's bed in the middle of the night. Now Olivia seemed to be developing some kind of speech difficulty that hadn't been present before. Later, after both twins had calmed down and were engaged in an art project with Mrs. Chen, Nathan and Emily spoke with Dr. Winters via video call. "It sounds like situational mutism," the doctor explained after hearing the symptoms. "It's not uncommon in children who've experienced significant stress or upheaval. The good news is that it's usually temporary." "And Emma's fear of the dark?" Emily asked. "Another manifestation of anxiety," Dr. Winters said. "These children have been through tremendous changes in a short time. Losing their father, financial insecurity, moving to a new home. Their brains are processing trauma in different ways." "What can we do?" Nathan asked, feeling helpless in the face of psychological wounds he couldn't simply fix with resources or influence. "Stability is key," the doctor advised. "Consistent routines, gentle reassurance, and possibly professional support. I can recommend an excellent child psychologist who specializes in family transitions." After the call ended, Nathan found Emily in the kitchen, methodically chopping vegetables with more force than necessary. "This is my fault," she said without looking up. "If I had been stronger, worked harder—" "Stop," Nathan interrupted, gently. "You've been doing the impossible for years. No one could have done more." Emily set down the knife, her hands trembling slightly. "You don't understand what it's been like. After Michael left us, everything fell apart so quickly. The medical bills, the insurance company fighting every claim, having to leave our home. The girls watched me struggle every day, no matter how much I tried to shield them." Nathan moved closer, cautiously placing a hand on her shoulder. "You kept them safe, loved. That's what matters." Emily didn't pull away from his touch. "Sophia stopped being a child the day Michael got sick. She started taking care of her sisters, making sure they ate before she did, helping them with homework when I was working nights. She was 8 years old, Nathan. 8. The weight of those lost years he should have been there, pressed down on Nathan. "How we can't change the past," he said quietly, but we can make the future better." Emily finally looked up at him, her expression vulnerable in a way he hadn't seen since their time together years ago. "Can we, though? Your world and mine are completely different. I'm grateful for your help, but I don't belong here. This isn't real life." Before Nathan could respond, his phone rang with the custom tone he'd assigned to work emergencies. With the apologetic glance at Emily, he answered, "Parker speaking." Marcus's voice came through, tense and urgent. "The Singapore team is backing out. They say they've received a better offer from Axion Tech." Nathan's mind immediately shifted to business mode. "That's impossible. We've offered exclusive rights to—" "They're claiming our delayed response timeline indicates instability in leadership," Marcus continued. "Victoria Hamilton has been in touch with them directly, which is completely out of protocol." "I'll see." "Be there in 30 minutes, Nathan said firmly, ending the call. Emily had already stepped away, resuming her dinner preparations with a closed expression. "Go," she said simply. "We'll be fine." Nathan hesitated, caught between worlds. "This won't take long." "It never does," Emily replied, the words carrying a weight that suggested she was referring to more than just this moment. 5 hours later, Nathan returned to the penthouse, mentally exhausted from navigating the complex negotiations required to salvage the Singapore deal. The apartment was quiet, the kitchen clean, dinner long over. He found a plate covered in the refrigerator with a simple note in Emily's handwriting, "Eat something." The small gesture of care touched him unexpectedly. He warmed the food and ate alone at the kitchen island, the silence of the massive apartment pressing in around him. After eating, he walked quietly down the hallway, checking on each of the girls. The twins were asleep in their shared room, nightlight casting a soft glow over their peaceful faces. Sophia's door was slightly ajar, and he peered in to find her sitting up in bed, reading. She looked up at his movement in the doorway. "You missed dinner," she stated simply. "Work emergency," Nathan explained, stepping into the room. "May I?" Sophia nodded, and he sat on the edge of her bed. "What are you reading?" "A Wrinkle in Time," she replied, showing him the cover. It's about a girl whose father disappears. The pointed choice of reading material wasn't lost on Nathan. "Sophia," he began carefully, "there's something I'd like to talk to you about, something important." Sophia closed her book, her expression serious beyond her years. "You're my biological father, aren't you?" The direct question caught Nathan off guard, though perhaps it shouldn't have. "Yes," he answered, simply. "How long have you known?" "I've suspected since you showed up at our apartment," Sophia said. "Mom kept a photo of you in her important papers box, and we have the same eyes." Nathan felt a surge of emotion at her matter-of-fact acceptance. "We do." "Does this mean we're staying here permanently?" Sophia asked, the real concern behind her calm demeanor finally emerging. "That's something your mom and I are still figuring out," Nathan answered honestly. "But it does mean that I want to be part of your life. All of your lives, yours and your sister's." Sophia considered this. "Dad, Michael, he was a really good dad. He taught me to ride a bike and helped me with science projects. He came to all my school things, even when he was really tired from work." "He sounds like an amazing father," Nathan said, meaning it. "I'm not trying to replace him, Sophia. No one could, but if you'll let me, I'd like to be another person in your life, who cares about you, supports you, and yes, loves you." Sophia was quiet for a long moment. "I think that would be okay," she finally said. "But what about Emma and Olivia? They're not biologically yours." "That doesn't matter to me," Nathan assured her. "Family isn't just about biology. It's about who you choose to love and protect." Sophia nodded, seemingly satisfied with his answer. "Mom is worried about imposing. She doesn't like feeling dependent." The insight from this 9-year-old was remarkable. "Your mom is a very strong, independent person," Nathan agreed. "She's also lonely," Sophia added quietly. "She thinks I don't notice, but I do." Before Nathan could respond to this observation, a scream pierced the night. Emma having another nightmare. He and Sophia both jumped up, hurrying toward the twins' room where they found Emily already, comforting a sobbing Emma while Olivia watched wide-eyed from her bed. The shadows were moving again, Emma cried, clinging to her mother. They were trying to grab me. It's okay, sweetie, Emily soothed. It was just a dream. You're safe here. Nathan felt helpless in the doorway, unsure of his role in this intimate family moment. Sophia slipped her hand into his, a small gesture of inclusion that meant everything. We should make shadow puppets, she suggested. Show Emma that shadows can be fun, not scary. Nathan looked down at his daughter, with newfound admiration. That's a brilliant idea. Soon, they were all on Emma's bed using a flashlight to create rabbit ears, dog shapes, and increasingly elaborate shadow creatures on the wall. Emma's tears gave way to giggles, and even Olivia managed to say, "Look" and "bird" without her. Words getting stuck when it was her turn to create a shadow. In that moment, with the four of them huddled together creating simple magic with light and darkness, Nathan felt something shift inside him, a rearranging of priorities, a clarification of what truly mattered. Later, after the twins had fallen back asleep, and Sophia had returned to her room, Nathan and Emily stood in the hallway between their bedrooms. "Thank you," Emily said softly. "For tonight. For everything." "You don't need to thank me," Nathan replied. "This is where I want to be." Emily studied him in the dim light. "I'm still not sure I trust this new Nathan Parker, the one who makes shadow puppets and misses important business meetings for dance parties. I'm not sure I fully know him yet either," Nathan admitted, "but I think I like him better than the old version." A small smile curved Emily's lips. "I think I might too," she said, before turning toward her room. "Good night, Nathan." "Good night, Emily." As Nathan headed to his own room, his phone chimed with a late-night email. The subject line read, "Request for meeting, Child Welfare Services." The message was brief but clear. An anonymous report had been filed questioning Nathan's ability to provide a stable environment for minor children now residing in his home. Our caseworker would be contacting him to schedule a home visit. The bubble of warmth that had surrounded him moments before burst, replaced by a cold dread. Someone was trying to take the girls away, and Nathan had a sinking feeling he knew exactly who was behind it. Nathan paced the length of his office, phone pressed to his ear as he listened to his attorney explain the child welfare investigation process. Emily sat in the armchair by the window, her face pale but composed, as she absorbed every word of the conversation on speaker. "It's standard procedure when they receive a report," Catherine Wong, Nathan's longtime legal counsel, explained. "They're required to investigate any allegation concerning child welfare." "But this is clearly targeted harassment," Nathan argued. "Someone is using the system against us." "Perhaps," Catherine conceded, "but that doesn't change the fact that you'll need to cooperate fully with the investigation. Child Welfare Services takes their mandate seriously, as they should." "What exactly will this entail?" Emily asked, her voice steady despite her evident anxiety. "A caseworker will conduct a home visit, interview both of you and the children separately, and assess the living environment. They'll want to see the children's sleeping arrangements, food availability, daily routines, that sort of thing." "And the person who made this report remains anonymous?" Nathan asked. "Yes, the system protects reporters' identities to encourage people to report genuine concerns without fear of retaliation." After ending the call, Nathan turned to Emily, whose calm exterior had finally cracked to reveal the fear beneath. "This is my fault," she said quietly. "I should have known this would happen." "This is not your fault," Nathan insisted, kneeling in front of her chair to meet her eyes. "This is someone trying to manipulate the system to get at me." "The girls have already been through so much," Emily whispered. "To have strangers questioning them, judging us." "We have nothing to hide," Nathan reminded her. "The girls are safe, cared for, loved. Any objective observer will see that." Emily's eyes met his. "And what if they don't? What if they decide a busy CEO and a waitress who just had a breakdown aren't suitable caregivers?" The thought sent a chill through Nathan. "That won't happen, I promise you." But even as he spoke the words, a part of him recognized the vulnerability of their situation. His own father had effectively erased Emily from his life once before. What other powerful forces might be aligned against them now? The child welfare visit was scheduled for the following week, but Nathan faced another battle first. Marcus called early Monday morning with news that the board had convened an emergency meeting without notifying the CEO. "It's a clear violation of protocol," Marcus said, his outrage evident even over the phone. "Victoria's gathered enough support to force a review of your leadership, citing concerning personal decisions impacting company stability." Nathan's jaw clenched. "When?" 2 hours. Conference room A. "I'll be there." After ending the call, Nathan found Emily in the kitchen, helping the twins with their breakfast. The domesticity of the scene, Emily pouring milk while Emma carefully counted blueberries into her oatmeal and Olivia arranged toast triangles into a pattern, struck him with its precarious beauty. "Board emergency," he said simply. "I need to go in." Emily nodded, understanding in her eyes. "We'll be fine here." "Mrs. Chen will be here at 9, Nathan reminded her unnecessarily, "and Catherine is coming by to prep us for the welfare visit." "Nathan," Emily said gently, "we've managed on our own for years. We can handle a few hours without you." The subtle reminder of their independence both stung and reassured him. "I know you can. I want to be here." Emma looked up from her blueberry counting. "Will you be back for movie night? You promised we could watch Moana." "Wild horses couldn't keep me away," Nathan assured her, dropping a kiss on the top of her head, a gesture that had become natural over the past weeks. Sophia appeared in the doorway, already dressed for school in her uniform. "Is everything okay?" The perceptiveness of his eldest daughter never failed to impress Nathan. "Just some work stuff," he said casually. "Nothing to worry about." Sophia's expression made it clear she wasn't convinced, but she didn't press further. "I have debate club after school. Mom already signed the permission slip." "Do you need a ride home?" Nathan offered. "The school bus drops me at the corner," Sophia reminded him. "I know how to walk the 2 blocks." Nathan nodded, respecting her independence while making a mental note to have his driver discreetly monitor her return anyway. The thought of Sophia navigating Manhattan streets alone, even for 2 blocks, awakened protective instincts he hadn't known he possessed. At Parker Industries headquarters, Nathan strode through the executive floor with determined steps, nodding to his assistant who hurried alongside him with updates. "They've been in there for 30 minutes already," she reported. "Mr. Evans tried to delay, but Ms. Hamilton insisted they begin without you." "Thank you, Jennifer," Nathan said, pausing outside the conference room doors. "No calls or interruptions unless it's about the girls." "Of course, Mr. Parker." Nathan straightened his tie, took a deep breath and pushed open the doors. The conversation inside halted abruptly as 12 board members turned to face him. Victoria Hamilton, elegant in a tailored crimson suit, stood at the head of the table, Nathan's usual position. "Ah, Nathan, how good of you to join us," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "We were just discussing the concerning pattern of absenteeism and distraction that's developed recently." Nathan moved to the head of the table, his expression making it clear he expected his seat to be vacated. After a moment of tension, Victoria stepped aside with exaggerated courtesy. "Thank you all for your concern about my schedule," Nathan said, his voice controlled as he surveyed the room. "Though I must confess my surprise at an emergency meeting being convened without notifying the CEO. That's a significant breach of governance protocol." Several board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. William Parker, Nathan's father, was conspicuously absent, a detail that didn't escape Nathan's notice. "Extraordinary circumstances call for extraordinary measures," Victoria replied smoothly. "The Singapore deal nearly collapsed. The quarterly projections show a 2% decline in expected growth, and you've been working from home more often than you've been in the office." "The Singapore deal is secure," Nathan countered. "The projected decline is within normal market fluctuation ranges and still represents significant growth. And my physical location has no bearing on my ability to lead this company, as our financial results clearly demonstrate." An older board member, Harold Winters, cleared his throat. "Nathan, no one questions your leadership capabilities, but there are rumors about your current living situation that raise questions about judgment and stability. Nathan's expression hardened. My personal life is precisely that, personal. But since you've chosen to make it a board matter, let me be clear. I recently discovered I have a daughter from a previous relationship. She and her family are now living with me while we sort out legal and practical arrangements. I fail to see how being a responsible father reflects poorly on my judgment. The directness of his statement created a ripple of surprised murmurs around the table. Marcus, seated halfway down, gave a subtle nod of approval. Victoria recovered quickly. While your personal choices are your own, the timing is unfortunate. Our Asian partners place tremendous value on family stability and traditional structures. The appearance of a sudden arrangement could undermine their confidence. Our Asian partners care about results and integrity, Nathan replied firmly. They also value family commitment above all else. If anything, my commitment to my daughter and her family would strengthen their respect, not diminish it. For the next hour, Nathan methodically addressed each concern raised, from schedule adjustments to delegation protocols he'd implemented to ensure no balls were dropped. During his transition to part-time office presence, he presented performance metrics showing that despite his reduced physical presence, productivity and decision-making efficiency had not suffered. Finally, he placed a folder on the table. This contains my conditional resignation. Shocked silence fell over the room. To be clear, Nathan continued, I have no intention of stepping down, but if this board wishes to censure me for being a father to my child, you may accept this resignation. However, before you vote, you should know that I've also prepared documentation regarding potential ethical violations by certain board members. His gaze fixed directly on Victoria, including the misuse of confidential personnel information and filing false reports with government agencies as means of harassment. Victoria's composure slipped. That's an outrageous accusation. Is it? Nathan asked calmly. The same day you accessed my private calendar, which Jennifer has confirmed you requested last week, an anonymous report was filed with Child Welfare Services questioning my ability to care for the children in my home. The implications hung in the air. Several board members looked at Victoria with new suspicion. Harold Winters broke the silence. I think we've heard enough. Nathan has answered all concerns satisfactorily. I move that we formally acknowledge that the board has full confidence in his leadership and personal commitments. The motion passed with only Victoria and one ally opposing. Before the meeting adjourned, Victoria announced her resignation from the board effective immediately, citing irreconcilable differences in vision. Her glacial stare promised this wasn't the end of their conflict, but Nathan considered it a battle won. Marcus caught up with him in the hallway afterward. That was masterfully handled, he said. But Victoria won't go quietly. I know, Nathan acknowledged, but right now I have a more important appointment to keep. When Nathan arrived home that afternoon, he found the penthouse transformed. Colorful children's artwork decorated the refrigerator. Schoolbooks and toys occupied spaces that had once held austere decorative objects. The sound of laughter echoed from the living room, where he found Emily and Catherine Wong sitting on the floor with the twins, playing a board game. Nathan, Emma exclaimed, jumping up to hug his legs. Miss Catherine is teaching us Go Fish. And how's it going? He asked, ruffling her hair. I'm winning, Olivia announced proudly. The speech difficulty noticeably improved. Catherine rose, straightening her skirt. We've been practicing for the interviews, she explained quietly. Making it feel like a game so they're comfortable talking to a stranger. Thank you, Nathan said sincerely. We've covered everything, Catherine assured him. The girls know the caseworker will ask about their daily routine, their feelings about living here, whether they feel safe and cared for. Emily and I went through likely questions for the adult interviews as well. After Catherine departed, Nathan found Emily in the kitchen preparing dinner. How did the board meeting go? She asked, not looking up from the vegetables she was chopping. About as expected, Nathan replied, automatically reaching for a cutting board to help. Victoria resigned. Emily glanced up in surprise. That sounds like a victory. A skirmish, not the war, Nathan corrected. I'm almost certain she's behind the welfare report. Emily set down her knife. Why would she go to such lengths? This seems personal. It is, Nathan confirmed. Victoria was my father's protégé. She's always viewed herself as the rightful heir to Parker Industries. My sudden focus on family threatens that narrative. Your family, Emily emphasized, a note of uncertainty in her voice. Nathan looked at her directly. Our family, Emily, if you'll let it be. The moment hung between them, filled with unspoken history and tentative possibility. Before Emily could respond, the front door opened and Sophia's voice called out, I'm home! She appeared in the kitchen doorway, face flushed with excitement. I got selected for the debate team finals. Her enthusiasm faltered slightly as she registered the tension in the room. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, Emily assured. And that's wonderful news about the debate team. We should celebrate, Nathan suggested. Ice cream after dinner? Sophia smiled, the moment of concern passing. Can we have hot fudge too? Absolutely, Nathan promised. Nothing but the best for our champion debater. Later that evening, after ice cream had been devoured and the twins were tucked into bed, Nathan found Sophia sitting at the kitchen counter with her homework spread before her. Busy day tomorrow, he said casually, pouring himself a glass of water. The caseworker is coming at 10. Sophia's pencil paused over her math problem. Mom explained about the investigation. She said someone reported you because they're jealous of your success. Nathan considered how to respond. Sometimes adults make problems for each other because of their own insecurities, but you don't need to worry. This visit is just a formality. What if they try to take us away? Sophia asked, the fear she'd been hiding finally surfacing. Nathan sat beside her, turning her chair to face him. Sophia, I promise you that is not going to happen. The truth is on our side. You and your sisters are safe, loved, and well cared for. Any fair assessment will see that clearly. Sophia studied him with those eyes, his eyes wise beyond their years. I'm going to tell them that you're a good father, she said with determination. That you make us feel safe. The simple declaration caught Nathan off guard, emotion welling up unexpectedly. Thank you, he managed. That means everything to me. The child welfare visit the next day was simultaneously better and worse than anticipated. The caseworker, Ms. Daniels, was thorough but compassionate, spending time with each child individually, observing interactions and inspecting the living arrangements without making anyone feel judged. You have a lovely home, Mr. Parker, she commented as they concluded the visit in his office. More importantly, you clearly have children who feel secure and adults who are committed to their well-being. Does this mean the investigation is closed? Emily asked cautiously. Ms. Daniels smiled reassuringly. I'll need to file my official report, but I can tell you I found no evidence of neglect or unsafe conditions. Quite the contrary. These children are thriving despite significant recent changes. After she left, Nathan and Emily found themselves alone in the kitchen, the relief palpable between them. One battle down, Nathan said. How many more to go? Emily wondered aloud. Nathan had no answer for that. Outside the kitchen window, storm clouds gathered over Central Park, a fitting metaphor for the challenges he sensed still lay ahead. The child welfare report arrived by official mail 3 weeks later. Its conclusions exactly as Ms. Daniels had indicated. No evidence of neglect, strong family bonds forming, and a recommendation to support the legal recognition of Nathan's paternity. Emily read it with visible relief, though Nathan noticed her lingering tension. It's really over, he reassured her, gently touching her shoulder. One bureaucratic hurdle cleared. Emily's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. There's always another hurdle, Nathan. That's how life works for people like me. People like you? People who weren't born into privilege, who have to fight for every inch of security. The observation stung, not because it was unfair, but because it was accurate. Despite weeks of sharing a home, the gulf of their different life experiences sometimes felt unbridgeable. "I can't change where I came from," Nathan said carefully, "but I can acknowledge it, and I can use whatever advantages I have to make sure the girls never have to face the insecurity you've endured." Before Emily could respond, Nathan's phone rang. The exclusive restaurant where he'd scheduled an important investor dinner was calling to confirm the reservation, a dinner he'd completely forgotten about. "The Hong Kong investors," he muttered, suddenly remembering. "They're in town just for tonight." "Go," Emily said simply. "We'll be fine here." Nathan hesitated. "These investors represent a significant opportunity, but—" "Nathan," Emily interrupted, "this is your life, your work. We can't expect you to abandon everything because we're here now." There was something in her tone, a careful neutrality, that troubled him, as if she was deliberately creating distance, reminding both of them that their current arrangement was temporary, practical rather than permanent. That evening, Nathan sat at the best table in Manhattan's most exclusive restaurant, surrounded by potential investors who collectively controlled billions in assets. The conversation flowed smoothly as Nathan outlined Parker Industries' expansion plans, answering technical questions with the practiced ease of someone who knew his business inside and out. Yet part of his mind remained at home, wondering if Emma had conquered her fear of the shower drain tonight, if Olivia had managed to read her bedtime story aloud without her words getting stuck, if Sophia had finished her science project on the water cycle. "Mr. Parker seems distracted tonight," observed Li Wei, the lead investor, with a small smile that suggested he wasn't actually displeased. "Perhaps American business culture has changed since my last visit." Nathan refocused. "My apologies, Mr. Li, you deserve my full attention." "Family concerns, perhaps?" the older man asked perceptively. "I noticed the school artwork on your briefcase." Nathan glanced down, surprised to find one of Emma's drawings, a colorful rendering of what was supposedly their family, tucked into the outer pocket of his briefcase. He didn't remember putting it there. "My daughter," he acknowledged with a smile he couldn't suppress. "She's developing quite an artistic style." Lee nodded approvingly. "Children remind us why we build businesses in the first place, not for ourselves, but for the future we will not see." The conversation shifted to family, with the investors sharing stories of their own children and grandchildren. By the time dessert arrived, the atmosphere had transformed from formal negotiation to something closer to camaraderie, and Nathan realized that his distraction had inadvertently created a more authentic connection than any business strategy could have manufactured. As coffee was served, the restaurant host approached their table with an apologetic expression. "Excuse me, Mr. Parker. There's a gentleman at the bar insisting on speaking with you. He says it's a family matter." Nathan frowned. "Did he give a name?" "William Parker, sir. He says he's your father." A cold weight settled in Nathan's stomach. His father had been conspicuously absent from board meetings since the confrontation with Victoria, communicating only through intermediaries. Now he appeared unannounced at a critical business dinner. "Please excuse me for a moment," Nathan said to his guests, forcing a polite smile. William Parker sat at the bar, a tumbler of scotch in his manicured hand, looking every inch the patriarch he had always been. At 72, he remained imposing, silver-haired, straight-backed, with the same piercing grey eyes that had intimidated board members and family alike for decades. "Quite the cozy dinner party," William observed as Nathan approached. "Asian investors always appreciate the personal touch." "What are you doing here, father?" Nathan asked directly, keeping his voice low. William sipped his scotch. "Can't a father visit his son, especially when that son has apparently made me a grandfather without the courtesy of an announcement?" The calculated reference to Sophia sent a wave of protective anger through Nathan. "You forfeited any right to courtesy when you had Emily fired and intimidated out of my life 9 years ago." William's expression remained impassive. "Ah, so she told you about that. Unfortunate, but necessary at the time." "Necessary?" Nathan repeated incredulously. "You interfered in my personal life, cost me years with my daughter. I protected the company from scandal, William countered smoothly. A CEO involved with the cleaning staff, an unplanned pregnancy, the board would have crucified you. Your leadership position was still new, vulnerable. That wasn't your decision to make. Everything in this family has always been my decision, William replied, a note of steel entering his voice, including how we handle this current situation. Nathan tensed. There is no we in this situation, Father. Emily and her daughters are my concern, not yours. William set down his glass and extracted an envelope from his inner jacket pocket. I've prepared a financial arrangement that should satisfy everyone involved. Generous support for the Rodriguez woman and her children, educational trusts, relocation to a pleasant neighborhood, perhaps Boston or Philadelphia. Relocation, Nathan's voice hardened. Of course. The Parker name has meaning in this city, standards to uphold. The family can be comfortably settled elsewhere, away from prying eyes and gossip. Nathan stared at his father, seeing him with new clarity. You want to buy them off, send them away, just like before. I want to protect what our family has. Built, William corrected. Your recent domestic experiment has already caused board instability and raised questions among long-term investors. My domestic experiment is my family, Nathan said, his voice dangerously quiet. William slid the envelope across the bar. Read the proposal, sleep on it. You'll see it's the sensible solution. The woman gets financial security, you maintain appropriate contact with your biological child, and Parker Industries avoids any unsightly complications. Nathan picked up the envelope, looking at it for a long moment, before deliberately tearing it in half, then quarters, then dropping the pieces into William's scotch. That's my answer, he said. Stay away from Emily and the girls, all three of them. As he turned to leave, William called after him, You can't build a family on impulse and guilt, Nathan. Reality will set in eventually. Nathan rejoined his dinner guests, apologizing for the interruption. Through sheer force of will, he maintained his focus for the remainder of the evening, successfully securing the investors' commitment before the night concluded. But his father's words echoed uncomfortably in his mind during the drive home. The penthouse was quiet when he arrived, the girls long asleep. He found Emily in the living room, reading glasses perched on her nose as she studied a thick textbook, highlighted with neon markers. Developmental psychology, she explained, noticing his curious glance. I thought it might help me understand what the twins are going through. The sight of her, determined to better understand her children's needs even after an exhausting day, filled Nathan with a warmth that pushed back against his father's cold assessment. How was the dinner? Emily asked, setting aside her book. Successful, Nathan replied, loosening his tie. The investors are on board. That's wonderful, Emily said with genuine pleasure for his success. You should celebrate. I'd rather hear about your day, Nathan said, sinking onto the sofa beside her. How did the twins do at their new therapy session? Emily's expression brightened. Actually, really well. Dr. Rivera has this puppet technique that's helping Olivia work through her speech blocks, and Emma made it through a whole shower without a single panic attack about the drain. That's fantastic, Nathan said, feeling the day's tension begin to ease. And Sophia? Science project completed with minimal drama, though she insisted on redoing her diagram 3 times because, and I quote, precision matters. Emily's impression of their daughter's serious tone was spot on, Nathan laughed. She definitely got that from me. My college roommates used to hide my ruler to force me to stop redrawing engineering diagrams. They shared a comfortable silence, the kind that had become increasingly common between them as weeks turned into months of shared domesticity. I saw my father tonight, Nathan finally said. He showed up at the restaurant. Emily stiffened. What did he want? To offer you and the girls a generous arrangement to relocate to another city, Nathan answered honestly. With appropriate financial support, of course. Emily's face paled. I see. I tore up his offer and dropped it in his drink, Nathan added. A small smile crossed Emily's face. I wish I could have seen that. It felt good, Nathan admitted, but he said something that's been bothering me. What? That I can't build a family on impulse and guilt. Nathan turned to face her fully. Is that what you think I'm doing? Emily considered the question with characteristic thoughtfulness. Initially, maybe. When you first showed up at our apartment, I wondered if this was about salving your conscience or fixing a mistake. And now I see how you are with the girls, how you memorize their preferences and worries, how you rearranged billion-dollar negotiations to attend Emma's dance recital. Emily's voice softened. That's not guilt, Nathan. That's love. The word hung between them, applying to more than just Nathan's feelings for the children. But there's something else we need to discuss, Emily continued, her tone shifting. I've been offered a job. Nathan blinked in surprise. A job? Where? When? The girls' school, an administrative position with their community outreach program. Pride colored her voice. They were impressed with my involvement in the parent committee and my background in community college education before the girls were born. Emily, that's wonderful, Nathan said sincerely. When do you start? That's the question, isn't it? Emily replied. I haven't accepted yet because I'm not sure where we stand, what this is. She gestured vaguely around the penthouse. Are we temporarily sharing a home while sorting out legal arrangements? Are we co-parents with separate lives? Are we something else? The directness of her question demanded equal honesty. What do you want us to be? Nathan asked. I need to be more than a guest in your life, Emily answered. More than someone you rescued. I need to know that if we stay, it's because we're building something together, not because you feel obligated. Nathan took her hand, relieved when she didn't pull away. I want you here, all of you, not from obligation or guilt, but because these past months have been the most meaningful of my life. The penthouse was never a home until you and the girls filled it with noise and chaos and life. Emily's eyes glistened with unshed tears. It's not that simple, Nathan. Your world is so different from mine. Your father, your colleagues, your social circle, they'll never fully accept us. They don't need to, Nathan insisted. We define our family, no one else. The conversation continued late into the night, unpacking years of separate lives and addressing practical concerns about their potential future together. By the time they finally went to their separate bedrooms, nothing was definitively resolved, but a door had been opened that neither wanted to close. 2 days later, however, everything changed. Nathan was in a video conference when Mrs. Chen knocked urgently on his office door, her normally composed face creased with concern. Mr. Parker, Ms. Rodriguez asked me to get you immediately. Something about the school calling. Nathan ended the call without explanation and hurried to find Emily in the kitchen, her face white as she clutched the phone. What happened? He demanded. Olivia had some kind of panic attack during recess, Emily explained, already gathering. Her purse. She's in the nurse's office. They can't calm her down and she's asking for both of us. They arrived at the girls' private school 15 minutes later to find Olivia curled in a ball on the nurse's cot, her small body shaking with sobs. Emma sat beside her, holding her hand, while Sophia stood guard by the door, her expression fiercely protective. Mommy. Daddy, Emma cried, spotting them first. The simple word, Daddy, momentarily stunned Nathan before he rushed to Olivia's side. What happened, sweetheart? He asked gently. Between hiccuping sobs, Olivia managed to explain that during recess, an older student had told her that she and Emma weren't really part of Nathan's family because they didn't have his blood, and that eventually he would send them away and keep only Sophia. The cruelty of the comment, clearly originating from adult gossip overheard and weaponized by a child, infuriated Nathan. But his anger took a back seat to the immediate need to reassure Olivia. That is absolutely not true, he said firmly, gathering her into his arms. Family isn't about blood, Olivia. It's about love. And I love you and Emma just as much as I love Sophia. Promise, Olivia stammered, her speech difficulty resurfacing under stress. I promise, Nathan said. Forever and always, no matter. What? Over Olivia's head, his eyes met Emily's. In that moment of crisis, something shifted between them, a decision made without words. This patchwork family they were creating was real, worth fighting for, worth protecting against all outside forces that might try to tear it apart. Later that evening, after all three girls were finally asleep, Nathan found Emily on the terrace, staring out at the city lights. "I think we should move," she said without preamble. "Not to another city like your father suggested, but maybe to a house in the suburbs. A fresh start, somewhere that's ours together, not just yours that we moved into." Nathan considered the suggestion. The commute would be longer, but I like the idea. A place we choose together. Emily turned to face him. "I've been thinking about what you said, about wanting us here because the penthouse wasn't a home until we filled it with life. That's true for me too, Nathan. My life, our lives have changed since you came back into them. But I need to know that I'm your partner in this, not someone you're taking care of." "Is that why you haven't given the school an answer about the job?" Nathan asked. Emily nodded. "I need my independence, my own career, my own money. If we're going to do this, really do this, I need to stand beside you, not behind you or beneath you." "I wouldn't want it any other way," Nathan said sincerely. "Say yes to the job, Emily, and yes to the house hunting, and yes to building this family together as equals." Emily stepped closer, her expression serious. "One more condition. We take it slow for the girls' sake. No rushing into anything, we need to be sure." "Agreed," Nathan said, "though I should point out we're already living together and raising 3 children, so conventional definitions of taking it slow might need some adjustment." That earned him a genuine laugh, and when Emily reached for his hand, twining her fingers with his, Nathan felt the last pieces of his carefully constructed old life falling away, replaced by something far more valuable. "Partners," Emily said. "Softly." "Partners," Nathan agreed, and sealed the promise with a kiss that felt both like coming home and embarking on a new journey all at once. Spring blossomed across New York, bringing with it a sense of renewal that matched the transformation. In Nathan Parker's life, the past 6 months had seen changes he could never have imagined on that rainy afternoon when a child's voice had called him Daddy over the phone. The search for a new home had led them to a sprawling colonial in Westchester County, with a yard for the girls to play in, and enough bedrooms for everyone to have their own space. The closing was scheduled for next month, another step in their carefully considered path forward. Emily flourished in her role at the school's community outreach program, her natural empathy and organizational skills making her indispensable within weeks. She'd started taking night classes toward completing her long-deferred bachelor's degree, and Nathan had never seen her more confident or at peace. The legal processes moved forward steadily. Nathan's paternity of Sophia officially recognized, with joint legal custody established. The adoption proceedings for the twins were more complex, requiring careful navigation of the prior adoption by Michael, but their attorney was confident the family court would approve. At Parker Industries, Nathan had implemented a revolutionary, flexible work policy, splitting his time between the Manhattan office and a fully equipped home office. The move initially raised eyebrows among old guard executives, but proved so successful in retention and productivity that several competitor firms had begun to adopt similar approaches. "You've started a trend," Marcus observed during their weekly strategy lunch. "The Parker model is becoming standard language in corporate recruitment." Nathan smiled, checking his watch to ensure he wouldn't be late for Emma's science fair that afternoon. "Sometimes personal necessity leads to the best innovations." As they finished their meal, a familiar voice called Nathan's name. He turned to find Amanda Sinclair approaching their table, elegant as ever in designer business attire. Amanda had been Nathan's most serious relationship before Emily returned to his life. A 3-year partnership that had ended amicably when their career ambitions pulled them in different directions. Now a senior partner at a prestigious consulting firm, Amanda retained close connections throughout Nathan's professional circles. "Nathan, what a pleasant surprise," she said, her smile warm but calculating. "And Marcus, looking distinguished." As always. Marcus excused himself tactfully after brief pleasantries, leaving Nathan and Amanda alone. "I've been hearing interesting things about you," Amanda said, sliding into the vacated seat without invitation. "A sudden family, a suburban move, working from home 3 days a week. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers got the Nathan Parker I knew. Nathan chuckled. People change, Amanda, sometimes for the better. So, I'm gathering from industry gossip, she replied. Your approval ratings are through the roof. The human touch looks good on you. She leaned forward slightly. I'd love to catch up properly. Dinner, perhaps, for old time's sake? The invitation carried undertones. Nathan chose to ignore. I appreciate the offer, but my schedule is pretty packed these days. All work and no play? Amanda teased. All family, actually, Nathan corrected gently. Between 3 kids' activities, house hunting and maintaining some semblance of work-life balance, my social calendar is on permanent hiatus. Something flickered across Amanda's perfectly composed features. Surprise, perhaps, or reassessment. Well, the offer stands. I'm curious to meet the woman who accomplished what I couldn't, domesticating Nathan Parker. Later that week, Nathan arrived home to find Emily in the kitchen with the twins, all 3 covered in flour as they attempted to make cookies from scratch. The scene, so ordinary yet extraordinary in its simple joy, made him pause in the doorway content to observe unnoticed for a moment. Daddy's home, Emma announced, spotting him first as usual. She ran to him, leaving floury handprints on his suit as she hugged his legs. We're making chocolate chip cookies, Olivia explained, her speech now completely fluid, except during moments of extreme stress. But the mixer exploded. I can see that, Nathan laughed, surveying the kitchen disaster zone. Need reinforcements? Emily blew a strand of hair from her face, leaving a streak of flour across her forehead. Desperately, these 2 kitchen assistants have questionable measuring skills. They worked together to salvage the cookie dough, turning the mess into a family project that resulted in oddly shaped but delicious cookies. By the time Sophia returned from her coding club, the kitchen had been mostly restored to order, though evidence of the flour explosion remained on everyone's clothes. What happened here? Sophia asked, dropping her backpack by the door. Culinary. Science experiment, Nathan replied, offering her a warm cookie, mostly successful. Sophia accepted the cookie with an eye roll that failed to hide her amusement. At nearly 11 now, she was showing the first subtle signs of adolescence, a growing independence, occasional moodiness, and the careful observation of her changing family dynamic. As they ate cookies around the kitchen island, Emily mentioned her encounter with Amanda, keeping her tone casual. I met someone interesting at the school fundraising committee today. Amanda Sinclair. She said she's an old friend of yours. Nathan nearly choked on his cookie. Amanda was at the school? Emily nodded, her expression neutral. She's joined the board of the educational foundation that funds our scholarship program. Small world. Very small, Nathan agreed, wondering at the coincidence that felt anything but random. Amanda and I dated for a while years ago. So she mentioned, Emily said, a hint of tension creeping into her voice. She was very friendly. Offered to take me to lunch to share stories about the enigmatic Nathan Parker. There's nothing enigmatic about Dad, Sophia interjected. He's an open book, a nerdy open book. Thank you for that assessment, Nathan said dryly, grateful for the moment of levity. Did you accept her lunch invitation? Emily shrugged. I said I'd check my schedule. She seemed very interested in Yes, Mom's situation. The careful phrasing, mindful of the girl's presence, didn't disguise the concern behind Emily's words. Nathan made a mental note to have a more detailed conversation once the children were in bed. That opportunity came later, that evening after the twins were asleep, and Sophia had retreated to her room with a book. Nathan found Emily in their shared office space, reviewing curriculum materials for her outreach program. About Amanda, he began without preamble. Emily set down her papers. She's beautiful, accomplished, clearly still interested in you. Amanda. And I were compatible on paper, Nathan explained. Same social circles, similar career trajectories, aligned goals. But there was always something missing. And now she's suddenly involved with the girls' school, Emily observed. Coincidence? Nathan sighed. Unlikely. Amanda is strategic in everything she does. If she's joined that foundation board, she has a reason. Should I be worried? Emily asked directly. About my feelings for her? Absolutely not, Nathan assured. Her? About her potential for creating complications? Possibly. Emily considered this. I can handle complications, Nathan. I just need to know what we're facing. We, Nathan repeated, savoring the word. That's what matters. Whatever Amanda's agenda might be, we'll handle it together. The following week brought the school's annual cultural fair, a major event where students showcased projects celebrating diversity and heritage. All three girls were participating, the twins with an art project on their mixed Hispanic heritage through Emily's family, and Sophia with a more ambitious presentation on modern American families. Nathan and Emily arrived early to help set up, finding the school gymnasium transformed with colorful displays and exhibits. As they helped the twins arrange their artwork, Nathan spotted Amanda across the room, looking distinctly out of place, in her designer attire amid the casual parent volunteers. "I'll be right back," he told Emily, who followed his gaze and nodded in understanding. Amanda brightened as he approached. "Nathan, coming to support the next generation of cultural ambassadors?" "My daughters are presenting today," he replied, emphasizing the E, plural. "What brings you here, foundation business on a Saturday?" Amanda's smile didn't waver. "Getting to know our scholarship community better. The foundation's work is so important to me." "Since when?" Nathan asked bluntly. Amanda dropped the pretense slightly. "People change, Nathan. You certainly have." "Yes, but my changes weren't calculated to insert myself into someone else's life." Before Amanda could respond, Nathan noticed Emily approaching a nearby refreshment table. Amanda followed his gaze and excused herself, moving directly toward Emily with determined steps. Nathan watched the two women interact, too far away to hear their conversation, but close enough to observe the body language, Amanda's carefully constructed charm, Emily's polite but wary responses. After a few minutes they separated, Amanda moving toward the school director, while Emily returned to the twins' display. "What was that about?" Nathan asked when he rejoined her. "She wanted to explain her presence here," Emily said, adjusting a picture frame on the twins' table. "Claimed she's genuinely interested in educational equity and that her joining the foundation had nothing to do with you." "And you believe that?" Emily smiled slightly. "About as much as you do, but she also said something interesting, that you were never truly invested in your relationship with her because you were always holding back a part of yourself." Nathan considered this. She might be right about that. "She also said you've changed, that there's a lightness to you now that wasn't there before." Emily straightened, meeting his eyes. "She's conceding, Nathan, in her own way." Before Nathan could process this, the fair officially opened and families began flooding into the gymnasium. For the next 2 hours, they moved between exhibits, admiring the twins' artistic efforts and chatting with other parents. When it was time for Sophia's presentation, they gathered near the small stage where selected students would present their projects. Sophia appeared uncharacteristically nervous as she took her place at the microphone, clutching a handwritten paper. "My project is called What Makes a Family," she began, her voice gaining strength as she continued. "Most people think families are simple, people who share the same blood or the same last name. But that's not always true." She glanced toward Nathan and Emily in the audience, drawing visible courage from their presence. "My family is made of courage," Sophia continued. "Of my mom, who never gave up. Of my sisters who face invisible fears. And of a father who came when I needed him most. Real fathers aren't just names on birth certificates. They're the ones who answer when you call." The simplicity and emotional truth of her words created a ripple of reaction through the audience. Nathan felt Emily's hand slip into his, squeezing tightly. "Family is about showing up," Sophia concluded, "about choosing each other every day, even when it's hard, about making room at the table and in your heart. That's what I've learned, and that's what makes us a family." The applause was immediate and heartfelt. As Sophia returned to her seat, Nathan noticed several parents wiping away tears, the school director filming on her phone, and even Amanda standing at the back, looking genuinely moved. Later that evening, as they celebrated with pizza at home, Nathan's phone began buzzing with notifications. Sophia's speech had been shared on the school's social media accounts and was rapidly gaining attention beyond their community. "You're famous, Soph," Emma announced, peering at Nathan's phone. "People are saying your speech made them cry." Sophia blushed, uncomfortable with the attention. "I just said what I thought." "Sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can do," Emily told her proudly. By Monday morning, the video had accumulated hundreds of thousands of views and been picked up by several news outlets focused on positive family stories. Nathan's assistant forwarded dozens of media requests for interviews, all of which he declined. "This isn't about publicity," he explained to Marcus, who had suggested the viral moment could be good for the company's image. "This is about protecting my daughter's privacy while letting her message stand on its own." The unexpected spotlight brought another surprising development. William Parker appeared at Nathan's office unannounced, looking uncharacteristically subdued. "I saw the video," he said without greeting. "The Rodriguez girl, Sophia, she's quite articulate." "Parker," Nathan corrected automatically. "Her legal name is now Sophia Parker Rodriguez." William nodded, accepting the correction. "She has your eyes and your mother's way with words." The reference to Nathan's mother, who had passed away when he was in college, was unexpected. William rarely spoke of his late wife. "What do you want, Father?" Nathan asked directly. William hesitated, seeming to choose his words carefully. "I may have been hasty in my assessment of your new family situation." Coming from William Parker, this was the closest thing to an apology Nathan had ever received. "The girls are remarkable," Nathan said. "If you ever wanted to meet them properly." The tentative olive branch hung between them. William cleared his throat. "Perhaps eventually, when the time is right." It wasn't a reconciliation, but it was a start, another complex strand in the web of relationships that formed their evolving family story. 2 weeks later, Nathan and Emily stood in the empty living room of their new Westchester home, the closing documents signed, the keys officially theirs. The moving trucks would arrive the following day, but they had come alone to walk through the house one last time before it was filled with furniture and the happy chaos of children. "It's really happening," Emily said, her voice echoing slightly in the unfurnished space. "Sometimes I still can't believe we're here." Nathan wrapped his arms around her from behind, both of them looking out through the large windows to the backyard, where a swing set would soon be installed. "Having second thoughts?" Emily leaned back against him. "Not about this. Not about us. It's just a long way from where I was a year ago." "For both of us," Nathan agreed. They wandered through the house, envisioning where everything would go. The twins in adjacent rooms connected by a Jack and Jill bathroom, Sophia in the bedroom with the window seat she had fallen in love with, Emily's study next to Nathan's home office. In the master bedroom, Nathan pulled Emily close, pressing his forehead against hers. "I know we said we'd take things slow for the girls' sake." "We did," Emily agreed. "It's been 8 months," Nathan continued. "The legal paperwork is moving forward. We're buying a house together. The girls are thriving." Emily smiled. "Your point?" Instead of answering, Nathan reached into his pocket and withdrew a small velvet box. "My point is that I love you, Emily Rodriguez. I loved you 9 years ago, and I love you even more now, seeing you as a mother, a partner, a force of nature who never gives up." Emily's eyes widened as he opened the box, revealing a simple but elegant diamond ring. "This isn't about making things proper or traditional," Nathan continued. "It's about choosing each other, like Sophia said. Every day for all the days to come." Tears filled Emily's eyes. "Are you asking what I think you're asking? Will you marry me, Emily? Not because we should, but because we want to build this life together, officially and completely." Emily took the box from his hands, examining the ring with a small smile. "You know, the last time a man proposed to me, I was 8 months pregnant and terrified of raising a child alone. And this time?" Nathan asked, his heart in his throat. "This time," Emily said, slipping the ring onto her finger, "I'm saying yes because I want to, not because I need to. Because I choose you, Nathan." Parker and the family were creating together. The kiss that followed sealed a promise that had begun with a desperate phone call and led them through challenges, growth, and ultimately to this moment of certainty and hope. The next day, as moving trucks delivered furniture and boxes to their new home, the girls explored every corner of the house with excitement. Sophia claimed her window seat immediately, setting up her books and journal as if establishing territory. The twins ran from room to room, testing which floors were best for sock sliding and identifying optimal hiding spots for future games. By evening, though only partially unpacked, the house already felt lived in. Pizza boxes littered the kitchen. Counter, pillows, and blankets formed a makeshift movie-watching nest in the living room, and children's laughter echoed through spaces that had been empty just hours before. As Nathan and Emily supervised the twins' bedtime routine in their new rooms, Sophia appeared in the hallway holding a framed photograph. It showed Michael Bennett holding a younger Sophia on his shoulders, both of them laughing. "I want to put this on my dresser," she said. "Is that okay?" Nathan knelt to her eye level. "Of course it is. He'll always be an important part of who you are." Sophia nodded, relief evident in her expression. "And I was thinking, for the adoption ceremony for Emma and Olivia, could we maybe mention him, so they remember him too?" The thoughtfulness of the request, the maturity it represented, filled Nathan with pride. "Absolutely, he'll always be part of our family story." Later, after all three girls were finally asleep in their new bedrooms, Nathan and Emily collapsed onto the sofa in the living room, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes and the beautiful disorder of family life. "So," Emily said, her head resting on Nathan's shoulder as she admired her engagement ring in the lamplight. CEO, father of three, suburban homeowner. If you'd told the Nathan Parker of a year ago this is where he'd be, what would he have said? Nathan considered the question seriously. He would have said it was impossible, that his life was already planned and organized exactly as he wanted it. And now? Now I know that all the success, all the achievements, all the carefully constructed